There is a wide body of research explaining the science of how writing heals. Of this vast research, I find three really compelling theories. The first is habituation, the second is catharsis, and the third is inhibition-confrontation. Let me explain all three to you. First is habituation. The effectiveness of habituation in changing negative patterns is based on the fact that our central nervous system arousal decreases with repeated exposure to a single stimulus. In other words, the familiar becomes boring. You can see this in the root word, habit. Let me give you an example. Say you show up at your office job next Monday thinking it's just another day. When you get to work, however, you discover that there's a red-nosed clown sitting in your spare office chair smiling opaquely at you, his red clown feet so huge that they disappear under your desk. That would be frickin' terrifying. You would call people. They would tell you not to worry, that the clown is there some sort of cost-saving, effectiveness-lacking productivity exercise. You believe them, but Creepy the Clown is still horrifying, particularly because that empty smile remains stapled to his face as he watches you type. Day 2, he's still there. He'd maybe be a little less freaky, but for sure you keep one eye pinned on him at all times. On day 3, because he hasn't killed you yet, you decide maybe it's safe to move both eyes to your computer screen, at least while checking email. Come day 4, you're in the middle of texting your friend a photo you've just taken of the front of your shirt, and more specifically, the toothpaste smear shaped like a famous singer, before you remember that Creepy the Clown is sitting 5 feet away. You see where this is going, but at the end of the week you're all meh, he's a clown in a chair, I've got crap to do. You've become habituated to the clown. Like all good programming, habituation has a genetic advantage. If we respond to something that is proven safe with a heightened nervous system, we don't have as much attention to give to what is actually dangerous. Now that we're walking upright, we can use that power to our advantage. Specifically, by writing about past stressful or traumatic situations, we can gain mastery over them, freeing up room to worry about the actual threats. Next, catharsis. At its most basic, a catharsis is an emotional release or a cleansing. You've likely felt catharsis after confessing to a professional or venting to a friend. My first experience of catharsis came when I was 7. My family had moved from a medium-sized city to the small town of Painesville, Minnesota. New school, new kids, new rules, and I was a kid wearing homemade jeans and garage sale tennis shoes. As a scraggly bonus, I fiercely refused to comb any part of my hair that I couldn't see, which meant that whoever sat behind me got a real treat. Suffice it to say, I was not fitting in. That first day on the playground, 3 girls cornered me by the side. "Where are you from?" Probably they were only curious. For sure, I blew it. "St. Cloud," I said. "My dad's an actor on TV. That's what's called a big, fat lie. My dad had just quit his job as a cartographer to make a go of his dream of being a full-time alcoholic. What black alley that lie had lurched out of, I'll never know. "No way," they said. I swear on my mom's life, I said, "Oh." I felt the air rush out of me as soon as I said it, like I'd punched myself in the stomach. My mom was everything to me: security, safety, food, love, my oasis in a hurricane of a home life, and I just lied her life away. Talk about following the bad with the worse. The girls wanted to play with me after that. Everyone wanted to play with me. I should have been thrilled, but I was sick at what I'd done. I spent the rest of the day in the nurse's office. At the end of the day, I could barely drag myself off the bus and into the house. My mom was there, dead lady walking. She took one look at me before rushing over to hug me. "What's wrong?" she said. I rolled over on myself like a professional narc. And you know what? I felt better. Imminent punishment for lying notwithstanding, I'd been hauling that weight all day. It felt great to lay it down. Catharsis really can be that immediate and that effective. Think of it as removing the lid from a bubbling pot, where the steam is any extreme emotion, guilt, fear, anger that has been bottled up. Engaging a negative experience by talking or writing about it, or a version of it, releases the more intense emotions associated with it. In other words, catharsis lets off steam. According to Inhibition-Confrontation, the third theory of why writing is an effective pathway to emotional healing, it's hard work to avoid thinking about stress or trauma. This is the inhibition part of the name. Somehow, some way, the negative thoughts and impulses leak in despite our best efforts to tamp them down. This denial leads to chronic stress, which takes a toll on the mind and body. Confronting these stressors through writing, the confrontation part of the name, produces immediate boosts in mental and physical well-being. The trauma or stress, in other words, the stimuli, still exists in memory form, but when you face it, its significance changes. Here's an example. Think of your life ordeals as monsters trying to get in through your front door. You spend all your energy shoulder to the door trying to keep them out, inhibiting their arrival, which doesn't leave much time or attention for anything else. Your very survival depends on keeping that door closed. But you're exhausted, so you finally let down your guard. You let the door open. The monsters charge through and what? You realize there wasn't actually a threat on the other side of the door. It was memories of monsters you were holding back this whole time. The arts, and specifically writing, provide a protected route for opening that door and letting the memories masquerading as life threats in. Once they're through, you free up all the time and energy you've spent shoring up that door. You've got more room and more time for the good stuff. For my money, the most exciting part of this last theory is that what we've been inhibiting or holding doesn't need to be traumatic or long buried. Through writing, we can confront even a minor annoyance and still reap the vast health benefits. In further good news, it isn't necessary to know which of these three explanations you're tapping into to be sustained and healed by writing. You don't need to choose autobiography or memoir as your vehicle either, though both narrative therapy and expressive writing therapy are centered on factual writing, often in the forms of essays, journals, and letters. The great news is that writing fiction works just as well. For some of us, it works even better.